Hey everybody, Jeff Marr with Elizabeth School District, and throughout the month of October, you've probably seen that we have been shining the spotlight on our principals and assistant principals for National Principals Month, and that's a month that we celebrate our hardworking principals and administrators. And it's a tough job, we all know that. And this one right here, Kimberly Runyon, definitely knows it. She's the principal of Elizabeth Middle School. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me here.
So we wanted to talk to you about your background. You've been in education for a while, and how did you get involved with it?
I started out as a librarian in Douglas County, and then my daughters went to school, and that librarian had an accident, and they asked me if I'd come in, and I said, sure. So I'm like working in that little school library, and my principal at the time said, you're really good at this. You should be in education. I'm like, okay. But the backstory is I always wanted to be in education. I was in school down in Fort Lewis, down in Durango.
Mm-hmm.
And they changed the teaching program from 4 years to 5 years. I'm like, I got to go. So I got a different degree and left, and then circled back around, and here I am.
And how long have you been with Elizabeth School District?
This is my 6th year.
Okay, and you were over at the high school for quite a while.
Yes, I was assistant principal over at the high school.
And how long have you been at EMS?
I've been here since November, I think it was November 10th of last year.
And how has the experience been so far?
There's a lot of energy in this building.
Yeah?
So, yeah, it's been good. It's really good. I really like the kids. They wave at me even when I'm walking down the hallway in their class. They'll wave at me. I have good conversations. I tag some kids and we stick our tongue out at each other. You know, just something to make it fun, so they know that I am too a human being, and I'm not always just like, why are you in my office? I try to make sure I'm out there and seeing kids and having conversations as well, because that's really important.
Absolutely. So back when I was a journalist, I was covering education for many years. I've worked in education, and one thing I hear quite often is about middle school, that it can be a real challenge because of that particular age, that it can be a tough time for a lot of students as they make that transition from elementary and then get ready for high school. We've all been through middle school, so we know that it can be tough. How do you manage that type of complexity and challenges at a crucial time during a student's stage of life?
Well, the key thing in that question is they are still kids. And they're still trying to figure it out. And yes, they make mistakes, and yes, they do things. You're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But they're still kids. And I don't know if it's the mom in me part that I understand that, watching me going through it, but also watching my daughters go through it. It's trying to understand the circumstances of the situation. It's trying to get them to understand, because when they do something, they're not thinking about the reaction even 5 minutes from then. Or tomorrow, or that they hurt a friend's feelings. So when you sit down and have those conversations and talk to them, they're like, oh, I didn't realize. So that's what it's like, is, oh, I didn't realize. How do we make it better? What can we do? It's just a lot of conversations to help them understand that when you're moving forward and you're learning stuff, how to be social on social media, how to do all those things, you have to remind them, if you don't want it said about you, you don't say it about others. That's the big reminder. How would you feel if that was you? So that's what we do.
And do you feel like you have a lot of opportunities to kind of set that standard when you speak in front of the students, to kind of help shape them as future leaders and good students for EHS when they move there?
Yes. So, sometimes I do it in classrooms if there's a situation, or, I'll just pop in and have a conversation. We're getting ready to have our next principal meeting here in the auditorium, and we talk about all those topics. And it's all combined in with those competency plans that we have outside of our building. So I give examples. I put up little videos and things like that, so kids can see that we're all human beings, first of all, and we all make mistakes. But when we make mistakes, how do we fix them? How do we continue to grow? How do we continue to learn? How do we continue to be the best that we can be?
And this probably leads into my next question, because I was going to ask you about challenges that you face and obstacles with the job. And it's not an easy job. There's a lot of late nights. There's a lot of weekends. There's a lot of things that you have to turn your attention to after hours. So when you do get that quiet time, it's very precious and valuable. So what are some of the challenges that you face? I'm sure you've already outlined a few.
Phones are a challenge.
Okay.
We have asked the kids not have them in the classroom, but they're still kids, and if they can sneak to their phone, they will do that. I think another challenge is just trying to understand that education is really important, and they're like, yeah, no, but every step, everything that they do is the next step to something else. So I try to tell them it's like a video game. If you can't get past the first stage to the next stage, you have to keep playing that game. And it's the same thing as we're learning and educating, that if you don't turn in your homework, you don't do your stuff, you don't get to go to the next stage.
Right.
And we want you to get to the next stage.
Right.
So I always put everything in a video game. That seems to make them understand better.
Yeah.
So as soon as you finish that stage, you get to the next stage and you keep building up and you become the person that you want to be, whatever path that is. But you always, middle school is that point where they're really learning how to engage with their stuff, get it turned in a timely manner so that they're prepared for whatever that next step is for them.
And it's got to be tough because you have multiple stakeholder groups that you are trying to appeal to. You just named off the students. That's a challenge in itself, but you also are managing staff.
Yeah.
You're keeping the morale up in the building during difficult times. You are trying to cater to a whole group of diverse parents who have expectations as well.
Right.
Do you ever have trouble managing all of those groups? And I mean, you can't make everybody happy.
No,
right?
I can't make everybody happy. I try to do the best I can do. I think I do well with the staff, and through struggles, I've let them know I am their wingman.
Yeah.
I will do what I can to support you, but we are professionals, and that's always the first part. But I am their wingman. Parents, when there are struggles with parents, I make the kids call their parents if there's a challenge or a behavior, and I make them explain to their parents why they're making that phone call from my office. And then I do say to parents, how do we team together? Because we are a team right now, and I want what's best for your child. Your child's safety and well-being is just as important as any other child in this building. How do we team together? And I think that helps. Do I make everybody happy all the time? No. Do I try? Yes.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you do a great job at it. And I also have talked to Brett, for example, and John at the high school, and I've talked about kind of what they get out of seeing their graduates move on to bigger and better things in life and then getting updates from them. In your case, you probably get that too after they move on from high school, but also seeing them go from middle to high school and seeing them grow into probably different people when they get to high school, right? Is that pretty satisfying when you see that?
It is satisfying to see that. It's so amazing to see, because I've taught everything from kindergarten all the way through middle school. It's so exciting to see those kids that had challenges, learning challenges, and they're successful, or kids who had a plan and they stuck with that plan the whole entire time. And then those kids were like, I don't know what I'm doing, and they find what they're doing. That is gold to me. That is worth more than anything in the world. When I see those kids, like when Shay last year got to the Air Force Academy, that was gold. And I've known Shay since second grade. Yeah. So I've watched her grow into this lovely woman. And when I see these kids do these amazing things, I get so excited. Fright Fest, for example, seeing the kids out of the educational setting and just having a good time being kids, that I went home with a big smile on my face on Friday night. And I'd been here since 6 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't get home till 8:30ish. And that was like the best day ever, just to see how excited they were, how much fun they were having. They were out there dancing and running through the halls. And those are the moments that remind me why I do what I do.
You seem like a glass half full type of person.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah, it's easy to be negative. It's so easy to be negative, but it doesn't make you feel good.
No.
So with everything that happens, there's always something positive that comes out of it.
Right, absolutely.
So,
Anything else you want to add about your background, or maybe something people don't know about you?
Oh gosh.
Do you have a special hobby that people don't know about?
I write children's books.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So I am in the process of finishing one chapter book, and I have a couple other little books that I have finished, but I haven't published them yet, so I'll be seeking out that. I do have a black belt in Taekwondo.
You do?
Yes, my whole entire family does.
Okay.
So we did it as a family. That was the one thing my oldest daughter, she's kind of fun, had a hard time focusing. So we all joined Taekwondo at the same time to help her get that focus. and we went all the way to the black belts.
Wow.
And
So you probably have a really good roundhouse kick.
I do have a good roundhouse kick.
Yeah. That was
And
the
my
first
1, 2,
thing I
3
learned.
punch
I
is
have a
really
yellow
good.
belt. She has a black belt. Is that what you said?
Yeah, black belt.
Wow.
Yeah.
You have to teach me some things.
I'm happy to teach you some things. Breaking boards is really fun.
Oh, let's do that right now. Thank you so much for talking to us. I
Absolutely.
appreciate it. And again, October is dedicated to people like you who dedicate so much of their time to the community, to the students. It is a tough job. It takes a certain type of person to be able to handle being a principal. And
Well,
you know,
I love it.
thank you for what
Yeah.
you do.
Thank you so much. Well, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for students and parents. So thank you guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Kimberly.
Thank you.
And be sure to follow Elizabeth School District on our social media and our website, elizabethschooldistrict.org. And we'll see you soon.